thing is, I'm financially not stable because I'm not active in the current company where I started my company. So I'm not active in
Understood.
that, and even I'm not getting any good amount there in my friend's company. Okay,
Mm,
and I'm married. It's been 5 years, and I have a child who is going to school. He's 4 years old. I'm struggling financially because I don't have any consistent amount with me. I'm not getting any consistent amount to
mhm.
take care of my own family or to fulfill my commitments. So
Understand.
then I thought, like, somebody suggested, why don't you go for a job? Why don't you work? I did not had any idea that I should also can go to job. I can start my career in some company. I
Mm,
never thought. Somebody, my wife insisted me, why don't you have good experience and all? Then I
mm,
thought, like, yeah, I can do, but I am in a confusion, like what I should do. Few suggested me that you just go for a scrum master because there is no technical part there, just facilitating the people, agile
mm,
framework
mm,
and that. I tried. I prepared for it, and then I attended an interview for Bosch Coimbatore. But
mm.
I not able to clear because so far I have started. It's been 3 months. I'm started. I have started to prepare for getting placed in some company, but I
Mhm.
don't have any clarity that what I should do. I gave the interview, but I did not get selected because they asked more technical part there. I thought they asked about the Scrum. I knew. I studied
Mm,
about Scrum Guide and all, but they asked me more about the technical part only. So I did not. After that, I have not applied for any company. So now I want a clarity, like what is the career path for me, whether I should go for a scrum master. I have already mentioned that I'm not so good in technical. I'm not good in managing the things. So whether I should go for a project manager or product owner. So I don't I am not difference between product owner and project manager.
mm,
So if project manager, so what I should do,
mm.
whether I can be able to start my career as a project manager. That is the first question. Is it possible for me?
Yeah.
If it is possible, then how I should do this, and what is the time it will take, and yeah, these are the
Yeah.
things I have.
Based on your experience, like I'm not sure what uh, I mean, whoever suggested you to go for a Scrum Master, and I don't know if the kind of role that you were getting in Bosch was that into software or was that into something else?
um yes, embedded software development.
Hmm. See, the point that I'm trying to make here is uh, PMP certification is industry agnostic, right? You can come from construction background, get yourself the PMP, and then proceed with your construction project management. You can come from software background, you get yourself the PMP, proceed with your software project management. So you could be someone who's designing metro rail coaches. I've had a couple of people who were doing that, and they did their PMP. They were managing those kind of projects. They work only on metro trains and how to, basically make them functional and all that. So one thing to understand is PMP as a certification is industry agnostic. So it doesn't really matter which industry you're coming from. You can get yourself the PMP certification. But when we talk about CSM, Agile, these are very, very software oriented certifications. So, someone who is coming from, let's say, a construction background or civil works background or telecom background or somewhere, right? They might be project managers there, but when they go and study about CSM, they might not be able to find it relatable in terms of what they do versus what Scrum is asking. That is one thing. If you were able to find it relatable, if you were able to go through the CSM, go through the Scrum practices, the Scrum guide, all the Scrum meetings and all that, and if you were able to make a connection that, yeah, this is something that I do on my job presently, and this is what that I'm reading, and perhaps trying to understand the principles and significance of why we do a daily stand up or why we do a Scrum retrospective, sprint retrospective. And this is what I've learned, and now I'm a better Scrum Master, right? then it makes sense to do something like CSM. But if you've not been doing anything related to Agile or Scrum in your present role, and then you get yourself the CSM certification, and then you hope that, okay, now that I've done CSM, I should be able to get a Scrum Master role. That is going to be very, very difficult, because companies today, they do not just look for a certification, they also look for the experience and the kind of profile that you bring to the table, right? This, why I mentioned this was, this holds true even for PMP. So someone who let's say has 10 years of experience in construction projects, they get themselves the PMP certification, thinking that, okay, maybe I'll change my industry and go into software project management now after PMP. It is going to be very, very difficult, because you have PMP means that you have the understanding of project management. But over the last 10 years, what you have done is not developing softwares or not delivering softwares. What you have done is construction. So how can a company basically hire you over someone who has PMP and has the experience in software industry as well, right? So this is one thing. Like, PMP is not a magic wand where you get the certification and you are asked to come join any company, right? It just gives your resume the weightage that project management, you know how projects are managed, you can speak the language of project management with other project managers and with other team members when you are hired. But end of the day, that is where the buck stops, because end of the day, what matters is, have you delivered projects that I as an employer want you to deliver when you join my company, right? If you have not done that, then it is very, very difficult to get any kind of role which is not related to your present experience. So my number one suggestion to you would be, what has been your experience so far, right? Whichever field it was, and do you want to continue in that field? That's the first decision that you need to take, right? If you want to continue in, let's say you've been creating, let's say, embedded software, right, and you want to continue in that field, because which would be my advice as well, because you have that kind of experience, you can speak uh, technical terms as well. You might not be as good, nobody is expecting you to create an embedded software as such, but you at least have the experience of delivering those projects that you have in your past life, right? So my suggestion to you would be to move on and apply for roles that are related to what you have done so far. In addition to
Okay.
that, if you work on Agile and Scrum today, then having a CSM will be helpful. If you work on project management in terms of, let's say, waterfall delivery, or maybe Agile, or any other kind of delivery, right? That is what that you do today. Having a PMP is going to show your next employer that, hey, I have experience in embedded software delivery, plus I also have this certification, which gives you a guarantee of sorts that I have read this, I understand this, and I have cleared an exam also. That's it. But apart from this, too, how you perform in the interview, that's up to you. Whether they need to hire someone, that's up to you. Whether they are able to find someone better, then they might not hire you. That's again up to you. But it's not like PMP is a entrance exam where you clear it and you will have a guaranteed seat in a college or seat in a company, right? It's not like that. End of the day, what matters is how you perform in the interview and how interviewer, the interviewer's impression of you, right? How the interviewer wants to proceed with your conversation. But of course, having a PMP is going to help you in two, three ways. Number one is it will add weight to your resume. Number two is, if there's an opening and let's say there are 50 resumes, the HR will directly look at, okay, these 12 have PMP, so let's take these 12 and for the next screening round, right? So that is where it might help you get your foot in the door. That's one thing. But beyond that, PMP certification is not going to appear for the interview for you, right? It is going to be you. It is going to be how you perform. It is going to be how you are scored against the other candidates that have come, right? So I just wanted to talk about this because a lot of people tend to think if I have the PMP, तो चलो हो गया मतलब I'll get through, right? That is not how it is. Having a PMP is it's just adds weight to your resume. That's all. So my suggestion would be to wherever, whatever kind of projects that you have been managing, apply for roles that have alignment with what you have been doing, and also see, like, I mean, when you apply for those roles, are they specifically looking for PMP? Does that job description mention that you should have a PMP certification? And if you think that, yeah, like, I mean, out of 5 job openings that I see, 3 or 4 of them are asking for PMP, even if it says that PMP is a plus or PMP not mandatory or whatever that they say about PMP, right? If they are mentioning PMP in their job requirements, then definitely go ahead and get yourselves the PMP, because initially it is going to help you. Initially, it will help you clear that screening round. Beyond that, I mean, that is something which is up to you and up to your skills and how your interview goes, right? So
Okay.
this is something that I want to make it very, very clear. Also, considering how PMP is a costly certification, also. So considering where you are right now, I don't want you to spend money on getting yourselves the PMP and then at the end of it feeling like, hey, this did nothing to me, right? This didn't help my career. So I don't want you to fall into that trap, thinking that PMP is the magic bullet, right? If you have PMP, you'll definitely 100% get a job. It's not like this, because there are a lot of PMPs that may also struggle in their interviews, right? So I would definitely urge you to look at the kind of roles you are looking for and see for their job requirements if they are actually asking for PMP. Because, see, this is something that has happened to you earlier, to be honest. You did your CSM, you went to the interview, they didn't ask anything about CSM. It is possible that even if you didn't have CSM, you might still have had that interview, right?